So after hours of searching and lots of hard work, you finally found your dream home and you are headed to closing. So at this point, what could go wrong? Well, a lot of things could happen. And I'm here to tell you about 7 things that you want to make sure you avoid doing that could jeopardize your closing. So stay tuned. Hi everybody, thanks for tuning into my channel, Living in Tampa, where it's my goal to show you everything you need to know about eating, sleeping, playing, and living in the Tampa Bay area. If it's your first time to my channel, do me a favor, click that little subscribe button, ring the bell. It really does help me out. I really appreciate that. So in today's video, I'm going to cover a topic that a lot of people don't think about because you think once you found that dream home, you're under contract, you think all the hard work is behind you, but the truth is the hard work is yet to come. There is a lot that you have to do after you're under contract, and there's a lot of things that you have to avoid doing to not jeopardize your closing. So today I'm going to cover the top 7 things that I see happen that have kept people from closing or delayed their closing. So let's get started. The number one thing that can jeopardize your closing is if you change jobs while you're under contract. So when you are applying for a mortgage, your job history is super important. And if you suddenly change jobs, that can be very detrimental to your closing. I actually had this happen not too long ago, just a few months back, where the buyer didn't realize that. No one had really spelled it out to him. And he had his job lined up here in Tampa, and luckily it was in the same line of work. But he went ahead and quit his old job, and he had his letter, offer letter to where he was starting his job here in Tampa, but he had not yet started. And then when the lender called for that final verification of employment at his workplace, that was when they discovered that he was no longer working there. Well, that threw a big monkey wrench into everything, and they had to reschedule the closing to give time for everything to be run back through underwriting with his new job. Luckily, like I said, it was the same line of work. It didn't affect their ability to get a loan, but it did certainly delay the closing by almost a week, which if you're moving, I think you know how much a week's difference can make when you've got movers set up, you've got utilities set up, you've possibly got your pets, at a kennel, you've got a lot of different moving parts, hotel reservations, U-Haul truck rentals, all of those things had to be reconstructed, and it just caused a big problem for the buyers and also for the sellers because the sellers were, purchasing another home. So it's kind of a domino effect. When one closing is delayed, oftentimes it can delay another closing, and it can just be very problematic. So if you are changing jobs, make sure that you speak to the lender about that. Make sure that you have a plan with timing of that will not affect your loan. The number 2 thing that can make your closing not happen at all or delay your closing is if you increase your debts. Now again, this all goes back to the mortgage. If you're not getting a mortgage, most of these are not going to apply to you. But I would venture to say that a good majority of the people are getting a mortgage of some type. And of course, the lender is taking into consideration your debt to income ratio. If you increase your debts, a lot of times that can completely eliminate your ability to purchase the home at all. So if you are planning on increasing any type of debt, make sure to discuss that with your lender before doing so because you don't want to jeopardize your closing. This segues very nicely into item number 3 is applying for new credit. So sometimes when you move to a new location, maybe you've already arrived in Tampa and you're kind of looking around at different things. You do not want to apply for any new credit. So a lot of times when you go maybe looking for furniture or you go, into a department store and they're offering you some kind of incentive to open a credit card with them, sometimes even opening the smallest credit card can affect your ability to close on a home and your purchasing power in doing so. So again, anytime you're under contract for a home and you do anything financially with your credit, with loans, any of that, just be sure to discuss that with your lender prior to doing it. This brings me to number 4, moving money without a paper trail. So it's okay to move your money around if you need to. A lot of times you might be closing out some accounts in the state that you're moving from. You might be, paying off certain items or selling certain items that might bring you in a large sum of money. That's all okay. But again, you want to have a paper trail for all of that. You want to be able to explain all of that to the lender in case you would need to. So they always ask for your bank statements. They always ask for those updated bank statements just before closing. And if you have a large deposit or a large withdrawal and you don't have an adequate explanation for that, that can also hold up your closing. So anytime you're doing something like that, again, just be sure to talk with your lender to make sure you're doing it in the correct manner. Number 5 is a big one. So a lot of times when people are selling a home, they decide that they're just going to skip that last payment because the loan's about to be paid off. And, a lot of times they think, oh, I have until such and such date anyway. I might as well just wait and have that paid off at closing. And then maybe the closing gets delayed and then you have a late payment on your history. And any time that they pull that updated credit report and there's going to be that late payment on there, that can really affect you. So always when you're under contract, well, always anyway, but particularly when you're under contract, make sure that you're paying all those bills on time. Don't stop paying your bills, even if you know that they're going to be satisfied in full very shortly. Go ahead and make those final payments. Any overages that you might have are always going to be refunded to you anyway, so there is no risk in doing so. So be careful with that. Don't skip any payments. Number 6 is going to be, do not spend your savings. So a lot of times you are saving up for your down payment, you're saving up for your closing costs, and maybe you have a big cushion in there and you think, I don't really need all of this savings, and there are some things that I'm wanting to buy for the move, things I need to do in preparation for the move, and you go ahead and start spending some of that surplus savings. Well, that can raise some red flags and can cause problems for your mortgage too. So just wait until after the closing to do that. Number 7 is a big one, and I get a lot of people that do this on accident. They don't even think about it. You're so excited because you've got this new house. A lot of times you're moving here from another state. It's really expensive to move furniture, so a lot of people just end up selling off a lot of their furniture, and then they want to just buy some new furniture, and they go ahead and do that before the closing because, of course, it takes time to get the furniture in, and you don't want to be sitting in an empty house. But boy, have I seen this one backfire a lot for people that are under contract. If you go to a furniture store, Haverty's, Rooms to Go, what have you, it's easy to get sucked into those, 0 interest and no payments for however many days. But all of that does still go onto your credit report. So you don't want to make any large ticket purchases like that. You don't want to open up any lines of credit like we discussed previously. Just hold off until after the closing, and that way, you can ensure that nothing's going to go wrong. I know it can be frustrating to have to wait to do all these things because you're super excited, but don't jeopardize getting into your new home because you're too excited to wait. A little bit of patience goes a long way. And hey, if you are thinking about moving to the Tampa Bay area, please go ahead and give me a call, send me a text, shoot me an email. I would love to help you with that move. Don't hesitate to reach out to me. When it comes to moving to Tampa, I've definitely got your back. Hey, one more time, if you don't mind, do me a favor, hit that little subscribe button. It really helps me out with the ratings, and Google loves it when people subscribe, so please do that for me. I appreciate it. I hope this video was valuable for you, and I will see you next time.